A caribou moves through a snowy forest in the north, its breath turning white in the cold air. Around it, the world is built for survival. Frozen ground, sharp wind, hidden predators, and food buried under snow. Then the camera drops lower. There, beneath the trees, is a red mushroom with white spots. Amanita muscaria. To humans, it looks almost unreal, like something from a fairy tale. But to some northern animals, including reindeer and caribou, this mushroom is not just decoration in the snow. It is food, and possibly something stranger. After eating it, animals have been described as staggering, moving strangely, or behaving as if their normal relationship with the world has shifted. And that creates a question most nature documentaries avoid. Do animals ever try to change their own minds? We like to imagine wild animals as perfect survival machines. Every movement has a purpose. Find food. Avoid danger. Reproduce. Stay alive. But if survival is the only rule, why would an animal eat something that can make it disoriented? Why would any creature risk confusion in a world where confusion can get you killed? The uncomfortable answer is that humans may not be the only animals drawn toward altered states. We are not the only ones with nervous systems that can be hijacked by chemicals. We are not the only ones whose brains can be rewarded, dulled, excited, or disturbed. And we may not be the only ones who sometimes seek a different version of reality. The reindeer and Amanita story is one of the strangest examples. In northern forests, these animals may dig through snow to find the mushroom. The fungus contains psychoactive compounds that can affect perception, movement, and behavior. Science has to be careful here. We cannot ask a reindeer whether it is seeking pleasure, escape, or simply food. The mushroom may offer nutrition. It may affect them accidentally. It may be both dangerous and useful in ways we do not fully understand. But the image is hard to forget. A wild animal in the snow, consuming a chemical that may alter the way its brain experiences the world. Under the ocean, the mystery becomes even more unsettling. Dolphins have been filmed gently handling pufferfish, passing them between one another, and appearing unusually calm afterward. Pufferfish can release powerful toxins. In large amounts, those toxins are deadly. But in tiny amounts, some observers have wondered whether dolphins may be using them to create a mild altered state. Again, we do not know for sure. Maybe the dolphins are playing. Maybe they are exploring. Maybe the interpretation is too human. But dolphins are not simple animals. They are socially complex, highly intelligent, and capable of self-recognition. So when they carefully interact with a toxic animal, instead of simply eating it, the behavior leaves a strange possibility open. Maybe some animals are curious not only about the world outside them, but about the state of the world inside them. That idea sounds almost too human. But laboratory science has already shown something important. Many animals will work to obtain substances that affect the brain's reward system. Rats, monkeys, and other animals can self-administer certain drugs when given access in controlled studies. That does not mean wild animals are partying like humans. But it does prove that the machinery of reward, craving, and altered states is not uniquely human. The brain is old. Pleasure is old. Relief is old. The desire to change how a body feels may be older than our species. This is where Qualia matters. Kwah means the raw inner feeling of experience, what it feels like to be inside a living mind. What does snow feel like to a caribou after eating a psychoactive mushroom? What does water feel like to a dolphin drifting beside its pod after touching a toxic fish? What does the world become when the nervous system of a wild animal is briefly changed? We cannot know. We can observe behavior. We can identify chemicals. We can study reward pathways. But we cannot step inside the altered mind of another species. Still, the question itself changes how we see animals. For centuries, humans told themselves animals were just biological machines. Input, output, reflex, instinct. But a machine does not seek novelty. A machine does not play with danger. A machine does not appear to experiment with the edges of its own perception. If an animal seeks an altered state, even rarely, it suggests something deeper. It suggests there is a state to alter, an inner world. A baseline experience. A difference between ordinary and strange. Maybe the wild is not only hunger, fear, mating, and survival. Maybe it is also boredom, tension, curiosity, relief, and play. Maybe some animals, under certain conditions, do what humans have done for thousands of years. They reach for a chemical doorway and step, briefly, into another version of consciousness. That does not make them human. It makes them alive in a way we are only beginning to understand. Of course, we should not romanticize it. In the wild, intoxication is dangerous. A disoriented animal can fall, freeze, lose its herd, or become prey. Altered states are not magic. They are risk. But risk does not mean the behavior is meaningless. Sometimes animals take risks for food. Sometimes for mating. Sometimes for play. And maybe, sometimes, for a different feeling. The wall between humans and other animals keeps getting lower. Tool use. Grief. Empathy. Self-awareness. Social deception. And now, perhaps, the search for altered states of mind. Not in the same way. Not with the same culture. Not with the same words. But close enough to make us uncomfortable. So the next time you see a wild animal behaving strangely, do not assume it is broken. Maybe it is sick. Maybe it is confused. Maybe it is only reacting to chemistry. Or maybe, for one brief moment, that animal has found a way to loosen the grip of ordinary reality. A caribou in the snow. A dolphin under the surface. A mind inside a body, touching the edge of another world. Nature is not only a battlefield, it is also a theater of consciousness. And somewhere in that theater, animals may not simply be surviving reality. They may be trying to escape it.